Do you ever feel trapped by your own thoughts? Like you're staring at a problem, turning it over and over, yet the solution remains stubbornly out of reach. It's a frustrating place to be, a mental labyrinth where every path seems to lead back to the same dead end. You sense there must be another way, a different angle, but it eludes you. This feeling isn't unique. It's a common human experience when faced with complexity or ingrained challenges. We often believe the key lies in accumulating more information, working harder, or pushing through with sheer force of will. But what if the real barrier isn't the problem itself, but the way we are approaching it? What if the solution requires not more effort but a fundamental shift in perspective, a different kind of mental movement? This is where the genius of unconventional thinking truly shines. Today, we explore a powerful mindset shift, inspired by one of history's most revolutionary thinkers, Albert Einstein. He didn't just possess immense intellect. He cultivated a unique way of seeing and interacting with the world, a method that allowed him to shatter existing paradigms. This wasn't just about physics, it was about the art of thinking itself. It's a technique accessible to us all. Einstein famously stated, "We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them." This simple sentence holds profound wisdom. It points directly to the limitations of our habitual thought patterns. When we're stuck, it's often because the very framework we're using is part of the problem, boxing us in without us even realizing it. So what was Einstein's hack? It wasn't a complicated formula, but a deep reliance on something often undervalued in rigorous problem solving: imagination. He called it more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited, he argued, while imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. Let's unpack how we can cultivate this power. The core of Einstein's approach, and the mindset hack we can adopt, involves engaging in what he called Gedanken experiment, thought experiments. These weren't idle daydreams. They were structured, imaginative explorations of possibilities conducted entirely within the mind. He used visualization to probe the boundaries of reality and question fundamental assumptions. It's a mental laboratory we all possess. Think of it like this. Instead of just analyzing data points on a map, Einstein would imagine flying over the terrain, seeing the landscape from impossible angles, asking "what if?" questions that defied current understanding. He mentally played with concepts like space, time, and gravity as if they were tangible objects he could manipulate and observe. The first step in adopting this mindset is cultivating curiosity beyond the obvious. It means asking fundamental questions, even about things we take for granted. Why is the sky blue? Why does gravity pull things down? Einstein never lost this childlike wonder. He constantly questioned the givens that others accepted without a second thought. This questioning opens doors. When faced with a problem, consciously ask, what are the underlying assumptions I'm making here? What if the complete opposite were true? What rules am I implicitly following without questioning them? Write these assumptions down. Simply acknowledging them begins to loosen their grip on your thinking, creating space for new possibilities to emerge. It's like finding hidden walls in your mental room. Einstein's genius wasn't just about asking questions. It was about vividly visualizing the scenarios these questions implied. When pondering relativity, he imagined riding alongside a beam of light. What would he see? How would time behave? This wasn't abstract. It was a sensory, imaginative immersion into the problem. He built worlds in his mind to test ideas. You can practice this too. Take a challenge you're facing, a work project, a personal dilemma, a creative block. Close your eyes and try to see it. Don't just think about the facts. Visualize the situation, the people involved, the desired outcome. Play with the scene. What if you changed a key element? What would happen? Engage your mind's eye actively. Another crucial element is playfulness. Einstein approached complex physics with a sense of intellectual play. He enjoyed juggling concepts, combining seemingly unrelated ideas, and exploring unconventional paths without the immediate pressure of being right. This freedom from rigidity allowed creativity to flourish. Thinking differently requires permission to explore, even absurd ideas. How can you inject playfulness into your thinking? Try brainstorming without judgment. Set a timer for 10 minutes and list every possible idea related to your problem, no matter how silly or impractical. Combine unrelated concepts. Ask, what would happen if I applied principles from biology to this business problem? Allow yourself to be wrong. It's often on the path to being right. This playful approach helps overcome the fear of failure, which is a major obstacle to innovative thinking. If you view your thoughts as experiments, some will inevitably fail. Einstein had countless failed thought experiments, but failure becomes data, not defeat. It tells you which paths don't work, guiding you towards those that might. Embrace the process, not just the outcome. Einstein also excelled at simplifying complexity. His famous E=mc² is incredibly concise. While exploring vast imaginative landscapes, he sought the underlying elegant principles. After exploring wildly, the next step is often to distill the essence. Can you explain your problem or potential solution in one simple sentence? This distillation forces clarity. To practice simplification, try the explain it to a child technique. Take your complex problem and imagine explaining it to an intelligent 10-year-old. What core concepts must they grasp? What analogies would make sense? This forces you to strip away jargon and complexity, revealing the fundamental issues and potential levers for change. Furthermore, Einstein understood the power of incubation. After intense periods of focused thought and imaginative exploration, he would often switch off, perhaps playing his violin or sailing. This allowed his subconscious mind to continue working, connecting ideas in novel ways. Sometimes, the breakthrough comes when you stop consciously striving for it. Give your mind space. Build periods of unfocus into your problem-solving process. Go for a walk in nature, engage in a hobby, meditate, or simply let your mind wander. Trust that your brain is still processing in the background. Often, insights surface unexpectedly during these moments of relaxed attention when the conscious mind steps aside. This isn't procrastination, it's strategic rest. Thinking differently also means embracing ambiguity and uncertainty. Einstein explored realms where the rules were unknown. He was comfortable dwelling in questions without immediate answers. Our conventional thinking often seeks premature certainty, closing down exploration too soon. Learn to sit with the not knowing. It's fertile ground for discovery. When you feel the urge to jump to a conclusion, pause. Ask yourself, what other possibilities exist? What information might I be missing? Am I comfortable with the current level of uncertainty, or am I rushing for a false sense of closure? Tolerating ambiguity allows for deeper, more nuanced understanding to emerge over time, preventing superficial solutions. Let's revisit the core. Thinking like Einstein isn't about having his IQ, it's about adopting his approach. It's about using imagination as a tool, questioning assumptions relentlessly, playing with ideas freely, simplifying complexity, allowing for incubation, and tolerating ambiguity. These are skills, muscles that can be strengthened with practice. It's a conscious shift in how you engage with problems. Consider a problem you're currently facing. Right now, try applying just one of these principles. Ask one foundational what-if question that challenges a core assumption. For example, if struggling with time management, ask, what if time wasn't linear? How would I prioritize then? The answer doesn't matter as much as the act of questioning. Or try visualizing the problem differently. Instead of seeing it as a looming obstacle, imagine it as a complex puzzle box. What intricate mechanisms hold it together? What hidden buttons or levers might exist? Turn it around in your mind's eye. Look at it from above, below, inside out. Engage your senses in this mental exploration. Perhaps inject some playfulness. If you're stuck on a creative project, ask, what's the most absurd solution I can think of? Allow yourself to brainstorm ridiculous ideas for 5 minutes. Sometimes, the most outlandish thought contains a kernel of genius, or at least loosens the mental tension enough for a real solution to appear. Laughter can unlock logic. Remember, this isn't about instantly becoming Einstein. It's about adopting a more flexible, imaginative, and courageous approach to your own thinking. It's about recognizing that the quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your solutions, and that you have the power to consciously shape that quality. The hack is realizing thinking itself is a changeable process. Einstein's way of thinking allowed him to perceive connections others missed. By stepping outside conventional frameworks, he could see how seemingly disparate concepts like energy and mass were related. This ability to synthesize, to connect the dots across different domains, is a hallmark of innovative thought. It comes from exploring broadly. Practice making unusual connections. Take two random words, say, cloud and justice. How might they be related? Does a cloud represent obscurity in a legal case? Does justice need to be applied universally, like cloud cover? This simple exercise trains your mind to look for patterns and relationships beyond the obvious, strengthening your associative thinking. This approach requires a degree of intellectual humility. It means admitting that your current perspective might be incomplete or flawed. Genius often involves recognizing the vastness of one's own ignorance, which fuels the drive to learn and explore further. Arrogance shuts down curiosity. Humility invites discovery. Be willing to be surprised by what you don't know. Think about a belief you hold strongly. Can you genuinely argue for the opposite perspective, even if just for practice? Trying to understand opposing views deeply, rather than just dismissing them, stretches your mental flexibility. It doesn't mean abandoning your values, but it does broaden your understanding of the landscape of ideas. Einstein's breakthroughs came from challenging the very foundations of physics. He dared to question Newton, a figure whose ideas had reigned supreme for centuries. This highlights the courage required to think differently, especially when it goes against established authority or common sense. True innovation often feels disruptive at first. Where in your life are you accepting the Newtonian view without question? It could be in your career assumptions, your relationship dynamics, your personal habits. What established truth might be worth re-examining with fresh, curious eyes? Daring to question the status quo, even privately in your own mind, is the first step towards finding a better way. The mindset hack isn't about finding shortcuts to answers. It's about cultivating a richer, more dynamic process of inquiry. It's about falling in love with questions, embracing the journey of exploration, and trusting your imaginative capacity. The answers often arise naturally from this deeper engagement with the problem space. Focus on the process, not just the prize. This way of thinking requires patience. Einstein pondered some questions for years. Breakthroughs rarely happen overnight. We live in a culture that often demands instant results, but deep thinking takes time. Allow ideas to simmer. Revisit problems periodically with fresh eyes after periods of incubation. Trust that worthwhile insights are worth waiting for. Consider the language you use when thinking about problems. Do you use words like impossible, stuck, dead end? Try shifting to more open language, challenging, exploring potential pathways. Language shapes thought. Using more expansive vocabulary can subtly shift your mindset towards possibility and away from limitation. Words frame reality. Einstein collaborated and discussed his ideas with others, even if his core breakthroughs often came from solitary thought experiments. Engaging in thoughtful conversation, explaining your ideas, and listening to different perspectives can significantly refine your thinking. Find trusted peers who can challenge and build upon your ideas respectfully. How can you foster more stimulating intellectual conversations? Seek out people with different backgrounds or expertise. Pose open-ended questions rather than seeking agreement. Practice active listening, trying to fully understand their viewpoint before responding. A good conversation is like a shared thought experiment, expanding everyone's perspective. The essence of thinking differently, as inspired by Einstein, is a move from passive acceptance to active engagement. It's about becoming the curious, imaginative director of your own mental theater, rather than just an actor reading familiar lines. It's about taking responsibility for the quality and direction of your consciousness. This active engagement requires energy and focus. It's easier to drift along familiar mental paths. Cultivating this mindset is a practice like strengthening a muscle. Start small. Dedicate just 5 minutes each day to consciously thinking differently about one small thing. Ask what if, play with a concept visually in your mind. Question one assumption. Consistency builds capacity. Don't be discouraged if it feels unnatural at first. Decades of habitual thinking create deep grooves. The goal isn't instant transformation but gradual expansion of your mental toolkit. Celebrate small shifts, a new question asked, a moment of imaginative play, resisting a premature conclusion. Each instance reinforces the new pathways. Ultimately, the hack is realizing that genius isn't just a trait you're born with. It's significantly influenced by the methods you employ. By consciously adopting strategies like imaginative thought experiments, persistent questioning, and intellectual playfulness, you unlock latent creative and problem-solving potential within yourself. You learn to navigate complexity with greater insight and grace. Imagine your mind as a grand, Baroque library. Conventional thinking keeps you confined to just one familiar wing, reading the same books. Einstein's approach invites you to explore hidden corridors, unlock secret chambers, and discover volumes filled with unexpected knowledge and perspectives. It's about exploring the full potential of your inner world. This exploration isn't merely intellectual, it can be deeply fulfilling. There's a joy in discovery, a satisfaction in understanding something in a new way, a sense of empowerment that comes from mastering your own thought processes. Thinking differently can make life itself feel richer, more interesting, and full of possibility. It transforms problems into puzzles. So the next time you feel stuck, remember Einstein. Don't just push harder down the same mental road. Pause, breathe, engage your imagination, ask a crazy question, visualize the problem from an impossible viewpoint, play with the components, give your mind permission to wander and wonder. This is the essence of the genius mindset hack. This shift doesn't require special equipment or circumstances. Your mind is your laboratory. Your imagination is your most powerful tool. Curiosity is your guide. You can practice this anywhere, anytime. It begins with the simple intention to approach your inner world with more creativity, courage, and playfulness. The power is already within you, waiting to be engaged. Consider the weight of unquestioned assumptions in your daily life. How often do we operate on autopilot, guided by beliefs we've never examined? Beliefs about our capabilities, about how the world works, about what's possible. Einstein's method inherently involves shining a light on these hidden structures of thought. It's an act of mental liberation. Try this small exercise. Identify one routine task you do daily. Ask yourself, what assumptions underpin how I do this? What if I did it completely differently? Maybe it's how you start your workday or how you approach cooking dinner. Playfully challenging even mundane routines can build the muscle for questioning bigger assumptions. The beauty of the thought experiment is its safety. You can explore radical ideas, disastrous scenarios, or utopian visions without real-world consequences. This mental sandbox allows you to test the boundaries of possibility without fear. It's where truly novel ideas often take their first tentative steps before entering the real world. Think of a major decision you need to make. Instead of just weighing pros and cons linearly, run thought experiments. Visualize path A unfolding over 5 years. What does it feel like? What unexpected consequences arise? Now visualize path B, engage your imagination fully. This adds a rich layer of intuitive data to your logical analysis. Remember Einstein's emphasis on simplicity emerging from complexity. After your imaginative explorations, strive to articulate the core insight simply. Can you capture the essence in a single metaphor or a clear sentence? This distillation isn't dumbing down, it's clarifying. True understanding allows for elegant expression. Find the simple thread in the complex tapestry. Applying this mindset isn't a one-time fix, it's an ongoing practice of cultivating mental flexibility. Like physical fitness, mental agility requires consistent effort. Some days it will feel easier than others. Be patient and persistent. The reward is not just better problem solving, but a more engaged and wondrous relationship with your own mind and the world. Let's consider the genius aspect again. Perhaps true genius isn't about innate superiority, but about the relentless application of effective thinking methods. Einstein wasn't afraid to look foolish, to ask naive questions, to spend years wrestling with a single problem. This persistence, combined with his imaginative tools, was key. Method matters immensely. How persistent are you when faced with a tough mental challenge? Do you give up easily, assuming it's beyond you? Einstein's example encourages us to stay with the problem longer, to circle it from different angles, to try new imaginative approaches when logic hits a wall. Persistence fueled by curiosity can overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles. The combination of deep focus and periods of intentional unfocus or incubation is critical. Intense imaginative work can be tiring. Stepping away allows the subconscious to synthesize information. Trust this rhythm. Work intensely, then rest deliberately. The insight might strike when you least expect it, during that walk or moment of quiet contemplation. Think about how you structure your time for deep work. Do you allow for uninterrupted blocks of focus? Do you also schedule periods for mental rest and unstructured thinking? Integrating both focused exploration and relaxed incubation into your routine mirrors the natural rhythm of creative thought demonstrated by figures like Einstein. Structure supports freedom. Embracing ambiguity is key to exploring the unknown. If you need certainty before you even begin, you'll never venture far from established knowledge. Einstein plunged into the uncertainty of relativity. Dare to explore questions where the answers aren't readily available. Be willing to hold contradictory ideas in your mind simultaneously. This tension can be highly creative. When working on a project, notice when you feel the discomfort of uncertainty. Instead of immediately trying to resolve it, sit with it for a moment. Ask, what does this uncertainty reveal? What possibilities remain open because the answer isn't fixed yet? Treat ambiguity not as a threat, but as a space of potential. Thinking differently often involves challenging the boundaries between disciplines. Einstein drew on philosophy and mathematics as much as physics. Don't confine your thinking to one narrow domain. Read broadly. Learn about art, history, biology, psychology. Unexpected connections and insights often emerge at the intersections of different fields of knowledge. Make it a habit to learn something completely outside your usual field of interest each week. Watch a documentary, read an article, listen to a podcast. Don't worry about immediate application. Simply exposing your mind to diverse ideas expands your mental landscape and increases the raw material available for making novel connections later on. Feed your curiosity. The core message isn't just about problem solving, it's about enriching your perception of reality. By cultivating imagination and questioning assumptions, you start to see the world with fresh eyes. The mundane becomes interesting, the complex becomes approachable, and the unknown becomes inviting. It's a path towards a more engaged and wondrous existence. What if the biggest problem we face is simply the limitation of our own perspective? By adopting Einstein's imaginative and questioning approach, we are essentially working on expanding that perspective. This is the ultimate form of personal growth, learning to see more, understand more deeply, and interact with life more creatively. Revisit the feeling of being stuck, that mental labyrinth we started with. Now, armed with the principles of thought experiments, questioning, playfulness, and incubation, imagine approaching it differently. Instead of hitting the walls, you visualize flying above the maze or playfully rearranging its passages in your mind. The problem hasn't changed, but your relationship to it has. This internal shift is the true hack. It's not a trick, but a transformation in how you wield your own consciousness. It's moving from being confined by thought patterns to consciously shaping them. This power lies dormant within everyone, waiting for the spark of intentional curiosity and the courage of imagination. It's your birthright as a thinking being. Practice the what-if game regularly. During your commute, waiting in line, or relaxing, pick an object or situation around you and ask playful what-if questions. What if gravity reversed for 5 seconds? What if trees could talk? What if money grew on plants? This isn't frivolous, it's limbering up your imaginative muscles. Remember to be kind to yourself in this process. Thinking differently can feel vulnerable. You might encounter resistance internally or externally. Acknowledge these challenges, but gently persist. Treat your mind like a garden. Cultivate the new seeds of thought with patience, water them with curiosity, and give them light through focused attention. Growth takes time. Einstein's legacy isn't just his equations. It's the demonstration of a mind unleashed, a testament to the power of human imagination married with disciplined inquiry. His approach offers us a timeless blueprint for navigating complexity, fostering innovation, and ultimately, understanding ourselves and our world more deeply. It invites us all to think more beautifully. So the invitation is simple: dare to think differently. Start today. Choose one small problem or situation. Ask one new question. Engage your imagination for just a few minutes. See what unfolds. You might surprise yourself with the insights that emerge when you step off the beaten path of habitual thought. Challenge the obvious. Ask why, like a child but with the depth of adult experience. Why are things done this way? What purpose does this assumption serve? Who decided this rule? This persistent, gentle questioning chips away at the rigid structures of thought, creating flexibility and openness to new ideas. Don't underestimate the power of simple questions. Visualize possibilities, not just problems. When faced with difficulty, spend as much time imagining potential positive outcomes and creative solutions as you do analyzing the obstacles. Let your mind paint vivid pictures of success, innovation, or resolution. This balances problem focus with solution orientation, fueling motivation and creativity. Hope is a powerful cognitive tool. Embrace constructive failure. Reframe setbacks not as endpoints but as data points in your thought experiments. What did you learn from what didn't work? How can that information refine your next approach? Einstein's path was littered with discarded ideas. See failure as feedback from reality, guiding you towards more viable paths. It's part of the process. Seek elegance and simplicity amidst the chaos. After exploring complex possibilities, look for the underlying principle, the simple core idea. Can you express the solution or insight in a way that is both profound and easy to grasp? Einstein sought this elegance. E equals MC2. Strive for clarity and conciseness as the final step of your creative process. Allow time for mental digestion. Just as the body needs time to digest food, the mind needs time to process information and experiences. Build breaks, walks, and moments of quiet reflection into your day. Resist the urge to be constantly busy or consuming information. True insight often brews in stillness, in the gaps between focused efforts. Connect disparate ideas intentionally. Keep a journal where you jot down interesting concepts from different areas of your life or learning. Periodically review these notes and actively look for surprising connections or combinations. Ask, how could this idea from biology apply to my relationship? Or what can this historical event teach me about project management? Cultivate intellectual humility daily. Remind yourself that there's always more to learn, that your perspective is inherently limited. Approach conversations with a genuine desire to understand rather than just to win. Ask questions that invite others to share their knowledge. A humble mind is an open mind, ready to receive new insights. Be courageous in your thinking. Dare to entertain thoughts that challenge your own worldview or the consensus around you. This doesn't mean accepting every contrarian idea, but having the courage to explore them honestly within your own mind. Innovation requires stepping away from the comfortable and familiar, at least mentally. Practice expressing your complex thoughts simply. Try summarizing a book you read, a movie you watched, or a difficult concept you learned in just 1 or 2 clear sentences. This skill, distilling essence, is invaluable for clarifying your own understanding and communicating effectively with others. Simplicity is the hallmark of mastery. Thinking differently is not a destination, but a direction. It's a commitment to lifelong learning, curiosity, and mental flexibility. It's about choosing, again and again, to engage with the world and your own mind with openness and imagination. The journey itself transforms you, making you a more insightful, creative, and adaptable individual. Remember the core message derived from Einstein's approach. True breakthroughs come not just from knowing more, but from fundamentally changing how you relate to problems and ideas through curiosity, imagination, questioning, and playfulness. This shift in process unlocks dormant potential. It's the art of thinking made conscious. The power to reshape your thinking lies within you now. It doesn't require external permission or validation. It simply requires your willingness to engage your mind in these more expansive ways. Start small, be consistent, and trust the process. Your perception, your solutions, and your experience of life can begin to shift. Let go of the need to always be right immediately. Embrace the exploration, the questioning, the what-ifs. Allow yourself the freedom to wander mentally, to experiment with ideas, to be surprised by where your thoughts might lead. The most fertile ground for discovery often lies just beyond the borders of certainty. As we conclude, consider this. What is one assumption you hold about your own thinking that you could gently question today? What if you are more imaginative, more capable of insight than you currently believe? Perhaps the greatest thought experiment is the one you conduct on the perceived limits of your own mind. The legacy of thinkers like Einstein reminds us that the human mind is capable of extraordinary leaps, not through brute force, but through finesse, imagination, and a willingness to see beyond the surface. Cultivating this way of thinking is perhaps the most profound way to honor our own cognitive potential. Don't underestimate the cumulative effect of small shifts in thinking. Asking one extra question daily, spending 5 minutes visualizing, challenging one assumption regularly. These subtle changes compound over time, gradually reshaping your mental landscape and enhancing your ability to navigate life's complexities with greater wisdom and creativity. The invitation, therefore, is not to be Einstein, but to think more like him in spirit, with relentless curiosity, boundless imagination, and the courage to question everything. Apply these principles in your own unique way, to your own unique challenges and opportunities. Make the art of thinking your own. May you approach your thoughts not as fixed entities, but as dynamic processes you can influence and refine. May you find joy in the exploration, resilience in the face of challenges, and wonder in the ever-expanding landscape of your own mind. Think differently, live more fully. What new perspective might dawn for you if you simply allowed yourself to question one long-held belief today? The adventure of thought awaits. Embrace it.